Alright, so this is part 2 and take 2 because I just did the whole rest of the explanation and didn't hit record. Here we go. We just talked about the website and what to do. Here's another example. This one is a homepage, mac.com, but it's a personal web page, not acceptable. This one is just a URL, not acceptable. This one here, laworldthrill.com, last time I checked it, it did not exist, so it'll tell you all that. Moving on, personal email address. Usually this is fine, it's their personal email address. It should not be their Thrill email. Now, there was one situation where the personal one was a Thrill the World, I think Austin, but that's because several people are organizing that event and they all want to be able to check the same one. So for that, I made an exception because I did an event last year and they're awesome and dependable, so that's fine. But usually you got to make sure that that's fine. Sometimes there'll be two, or sometimes people will leave out the @ or the @Gmail, or they'll just write @Yahoo, and you don't know if it's .ca or .com. So for those things, you got to highlight, let them know, and we got to figure that out. Okay, so phone numbers. There's different ways that phone numbers can appear, depending on where you are. You just want to make sure that it looks like a real number. So is there, if there's only 6 digits, there's something missing. The area code is missing. I don't know, there's something missing. Sometimes in the UK, which is England, Wales, Scotland, and Northern Ireland, they will start with the number 0 because you have to dial that if you're local. However, if you're from North America, you don't dial 0. You do a +44 and then the rest of the number without the 0. Some of them are super, super long, like in Mexico. So it might be that they included the country code and the area code, don't know. Now sometimes they just enter a little bit of a number, like -918, and you're like, what? That's not a phone number. No, it's not. Alternate phone number is optional. They don't have to have an alternate phone number, so don't highlight them and say that's a problem if they only have one number. Company, let's move over. Company, affiliation, organization, I read that wrong. Optional, not required. Mailing address. You want to look and, does it look like a legit mailing address? Because sometimes people make up an address thinking that, oh, I don't want them sending my info out. But I send out thank you cards at the end of the event. Last year, 10 of them came back to me because they were incorrect mailing addresses. So here in Malaysia, they actually have no address, and it's just a city. There's something missing. There were some other ones that I actually looked up the street number, and it doesn't exist. And the second part of the mailing address was, for city, it was POB 271. That's not a city. You know that. The state is missing. I know they're in Texas, so it's got to be filled out. Zip codes will be different depending on where you are. In the USA, 5 digits. In Canada, you've got a letter, number, letter combination, number, 6 of them. And in the UK, they're all weird. Now, in US, if it starts with a 0, it'll show up as 4 digits because, I don't know, it does that for some reason. If it's 4 digits but it's in Australia, that's fine. Okay, country, just make sure that they filled it in, it looks legit. The next thing is your time zone. This is not that big of a deal if they make a mistake. Sometimes people put my time zone, or for here, preferred time to receive calls, they put a time zone instead of a time. You can highlight it, but it's not like a huge deal. Here, one last thing that is important. Are you under 18? If they select yes, there's 2 things that could have happened. They are under 18, in which case the supervisor contact info should be filled in. As you can see here, they selected yes and it's not. Now, if they selected yes and it's not filled in, either they didn't fill it in, or they're over 18, but they accidentally clicked yes. So you got to email them and say, are you actually under 18? Sometimes they'll be like, oops, I'm 40, but I accidentally checked that off. Sorry. And then you would just highlight what was yellow, and then you would make it white. Because they don't need to fill that in, right? But I don't know that, so I'm going to leave that like this. If they select no, that doesn't need to be filled in. Primary language, English. This is just for reference. Spanish. Can you read English? So on. This is how did you find out about Thrill the World? This is your opportunity just to tell me like where they heard about it, just so we can know how our word is spreading. And then the following columns again are administrative columns. Oops, that's a big column. Move over. There we go. So when did they register? This is an approximation, and I haven't done it for a while, so yeah, there's about 50 that don't have a date on them. You just sort of guess. I mean, if you check the document yesterday and there's 3 more events, you can put them down for either yesterday or today, but you just put the date down. The following columns, we're almost done, was the email sent? Now this might be changed. No, we'll still send the email. It can be sent out in a batch, though. Was the event posted online? My event details sent. Right, so this isn't for you to use unless you're doing one of the other tasks. In checking their information, which is task A1, you do everything that I went through. I know it seems like a lot right now because it's 2 videos, but once you get used to it, it won't take that long. I mean, you look, does it look legit? You go over your checkpoints, you test the website, you just check everything else. Highlight whatever's wrong, make a note in column A. Oh, let me zoom out. So highlight whatever's incorrect. Make a note in column A. Don't worry about the colored things here. I think I'll be changing that system. And then if you make sure that you do that on the day that you're supposed to do it, and everyone does it the same, in theory, we should be fine.